let's move on to our next question. And this is for you, Eddie. We'll start with you. This is from Adrian Abbots. And he wants to know, any advice on how to activate my lazy hamstrings would be greatly received, along with Edwina's honest opinion on the best way to incorporate cycling into your training plan. And I'm glad he put this in. He said, no need to cover Swift again, though.
Okay, so another really great topic, another thing we've talked about lots, but activating your backside, basically your back muscles, that posterior chain that you want to get working before you start running. And I hate to mention it, but as we get older, we have to sort of remind them how to work a bit, how to work in the right order and what they need to do. And I like to do just a little bit of activation before each run, just like we talked about in the beginning of the podcast, not making it a big deal, right now I'm going to work on my hamstrings, but just by doing some little exercises, either before you run. The best time to do them is before you run, because you're waking up those muscles, and then you're going to run and it's going to remind them how to work. But even on like an easy day, recovery day, or in part of your strength and conditioning plan, there are some really simple exercises you can do which help wakes up all those muscles down your, so we're talking sort of glutes, your hamstrings, your lower back, to remind it how to work when you're running, because this is the origin of a lot of injuries, but then they come in your lower limbs. But it's actually often, most people when they go to the physio go, your glutes aren't firing. So some really simple exercise, a simple shoulder bridge. If you're not sure, I can't demonstrate because I'm shoved in my bedroom while the kids go to bed, but just Google shoulder bridge and have a look at that exercise. That's really easy. You can do it anywhere. Have a little go with a really slow shoulder bridge, a really slow lift, a hold, drop it down. To make it a little bit harder, you can lift into a shoulder bridge. You can try a little bit of marching, keeping that core nice and strong, really pushing those glutes so that they're supporting your legs. So you should almost feel like your legs are able to lift off the ground because your glutes are really pushing up. You can try lifting one leg and extending it to about 45 degrees and then lifting it back, dropping it down. And you'll feel, if you've got a bit of a lazy glute or a lazy hamstring, because your pelvis will drop, have a little go at those exercises before you run. If you've got a band or an old inner tube from a bike or anything stretchier belt, put it over your thighs and try a little bit of clams. So lying on your side with your legs bent, knees facing forward, and just open up your knees, feel a bit of restriction with the band, about 6 or 7 times on each side, and that's really making that glute work. Then off you go, some really simple exercise, off you go for and see if you feel any different, and I bet you do. So you can do those sort of little exercises. There's loads of ways to make them harder, there's ways to make them easier, but those are kind of simple ones that you won't forget. Have a go at putting those into your run and see if it makes it a little bit better when you're starting your run, and see if you get those hamstrings and those glutes working together as well. Kettlebell swings are also really good. You don't need a really heavy kettlebell swing, but just doing a half kettlebell swing wakes up those glutes, wakes up those hamstrings, and they all have to work. They can't cheat, otherwise you'd be lopsided. Fitting cycling into a training plan, or fitting any cross training into a training plan, I think is absolute key to consistency. If you want to be a runner forever and ever and ever, I would encourage everybody to find another activity that they love doing as much, if perhaps not as much, because we all know running is the best, but find another activity that you enjoy doing that is, it doesn't have to be totally different to running, but if it can be non-weight bearing, then that's brilliant. You can incorporate the cross training into your plan any way that you see fit. So the most important thing to remember when you're cross training is that I think runners just want to run. If it's not miles, it doesn't count, but your heart doesn't know if it's running or cycling or swimming, but your legs do. And by adding in a little bit of cross training, I would say, depends on the time of year. Right now, when you're in a sort of maybe a kind of easy phase, now is the best time to try something new, to try some cross training. So you can actually get fit enough to ride your bike, to be able to use it either as a recovery tool or to use it as a session. So this time of year, like I said about the strength and conditioning, it's a great time to try out a different thing without it impacting on your race. So you can use cross training. either as like instead of a recovery run. That's brilliant. Save your legs, and I guarantee the next day you'll feel like a better runner because you didn't do that recovery run and you did some cycling or some swimming, or even the very underestimated but much loved hiking. Working on your power hike, maybe with a bit of a pack on, or just going for a nice easy stroll, is better than pounding your legs a little bit more. So I'm a great cross training. I love cross training. I have no problem switching out a run to do some cycling, to do some swimming, to do some hiking. It's all good training, and it's all just bows to our tools in our toolbox, I think, and working different muscles. Dave's nodding his head. Yeah, I agree.
I've been on my turbo trainer before this, just like you.
Oh, yes, Dave. Do you do lots of cross training, Dave?
Yeah, I go on my bike at least twice a week, but I'm a bit of a fair weather cyclist and I live in Cumbria, so I do a lot in the garage.
I think with cycling as well, is if you use it as a turbo, you can really monitor your effort as well. So it truly can be recovery because you can really monitor your heart rate, and the same, you can really do a good workout on it as well. So great, huge advantages of using a turbo, especially in the winter. It's horrible.
Okay, so Adrian, I hope that answers your question. And well done, Eddie, for not mentioning the S word there. So
Z, it's Z, John. It's Z, it's not S. Get in with the kids, man.
Excellent.